as we catch up on all the action there. All love on the sideline pregame between Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown. Everybody looking out for that drama that had been brewing throughout the week. Late first quarter, game is tied at 3, and Hurts finds Brown downfield for 20 yards.
One-on-one coverage. That was the plan, to try to get it, and beautiful throw. And I love this little play design down in the red zone. You get the eyes of the defense, and I really enjoy the throw up at the face mask by Jalen Hurts.
Celebration there. Everything looks good. Okay, Eagles leading 10-3. Hurts right here to Devontae Smith for the score. The Eagles now leading by 2 scores. So what would the Steelers do to respond? Well, ensuing Steelers drive, Russell Wilson to Pat Freiermuth in the back of the end zone.
Needed it. Some life kind of at the end of that first half. A really good corner throw, strong hands by Freiermuth.
Steelers trailing by 4 at the half, and under 6 to play in the third. Wilson to Najee Harris, but he fumbles the toss. That's the Steelers' first turnover of the game.
Yeah, this is just a lack of focus by Najee. That ball's on his chest. If he just sees it in, it's going to be enough, and it felt like a turning point in this game.
Next, Eagles possession, Hurts to Kenneth Gainwell. He gets all the way down to the 1.
Man, Gainwell, Saquon's unbelievable. Gainwell's become a really nice change-up for this offense.
What a luxury to have. 2 plays later, the Eagles with the tush push, of course, for the score, 27-13. And here they are after the game. Hurts telling him.
You said you'll figure this out. Is that what we saw tonight?
We found a way to win the game.
You had that celebration with Jalen after the touchdown. I know you guys have done it before, but was that kind of a good way to show people like?
For sure. That was our moment to tell everybody, shut up.
Well, I guess we're done with it, right? There's no drama. Okay, but specifically to the actual game plan, RC, did you like that they did try to target Brown early in this one?
Yeah, A.J. Brown's an absolute genius and a mastermind. A.J. Brown knew that if I say, I'm just being honest, if I say this out loud, the entire world will be watching this game for one reason and one reason only, to see if I'm going to get the football. And what did Kellen Moore and Nick Sirianni do on the second play of the game? They gave him a slant in one-on-one coverage versus Joey Porter. You get near the red zone. Yes, we can run the football in, but why not give him the RPO with an opportunity to beat Dante Jackson to the inside on the slant? It was those little touches that they didn't make sure they got to him against the Carolina Panthers that was the cause of the frustration in that game. And then you saw Devontae Smith start to work. Then you saw A.J. Then you got to see Gainwell start to work. And there was so much of a flow because A.J. Brown was in the flow of the game early. Jalen Hurts felt himself. And then the run game also played a big factor in how the Philadelphia Eagles were able to dominate.
Yeah, Philadelphia forced the Steelers' hands defensively. The Steelers want to play single high safety, kind of one-on-one coverage on the outside, one safety in the middle of the field. And so the dominant offensive line, you handle the front, we're going to spread them out. And we're just going to make sure that we create these matchups for our offense. I love the fact that they spread Pittsburgh out defensively. They start with Devontae in the slot. Eyes follow defensively, and then it's going to be Calcaterra on a stick nod, and then A.J. Brown underneath. Because your offensive line is so good, you can trust that those 5 guys are going to protect against that 4-man rush, and it creates those advantages in the space within the defense. There's another empty opportunity where you're just getting vertical stretch, and then RC mentioned everyone else started to cook. Here comes this shallow concept. You're forcing Pittsburgh to really play in an uncomfortable state, and it all because you have an offensive line that provides protection for Jalen Hurts. The shallow crosses were a massive part. There's the Devontae Smith. RC just mentioned the name, Kenneth Gainwell, one-on-one versus the backer. You guys want to play man-to-man coverage? Here comes the shallow. We're going to bump you off. Everybody's got attention to a A.J. Brown or a Devontae Smith. We flush out the backside. There's that great protection that allows Jalen to get through it. They saw single high coverage 17 times yesterday. Jalen had 17 completions in it for 204 yards. That's the most in 3 years. He also was 10 of 12 in man coverage with A.J. Brown for 140 yards. If you're going to play that coverage, and we talk about this before Marcus goes, to pick your poison, right? Yes. Everyone's picked coverage. Well, then you got the poison from Saquon. Yesterday you picked Saquon, you're going to get the poison from the pass game.
You know what I loved about yesterday? Saquon didn't have an MVP caliber day, but we got to see other players step up. And you mentioned Kenneth Gainwell. You showed that third down on the crosser there where it's a catch and run.
Yeah.
And here were some other plays in this game that I thought were phenomenal. It was little spot routes where he'd catch the football, and the yards after the catch were huge for this team. I believe this is something we have to keep our eyes on as we get closer to the playoffs, that when Saquon Barkley isn't on the field, they can still get major production from the running back position.
Marcus, when you saw how the Steelers played defensively, do you have any issues with the way they approach this game in this Philly offense?
Yeah, I mean, Dan talked about it, and it was something we talked about Friday on the show, Boogie, is that I wanted to see if the Pittsburgh Steelers would change up man-to-man. And they didn't. And I'm not picking on our LSU brother in Dante Jackson, but look at the conflict that these cornerbacks are in when you got the threat of Saquon first. Dante eyes in the backfield, because you have to always be cautious of coming up and playing the run. The next big long run by Saquon, he's on the side, on the strength side of the formation where the run comes. Look at him, flat-footed. You can't do anything. I'm stuck in mud. And now to the A.J. Brown touchdown. It's the same concept. This is what we talk about when dictating what defenses do. You never want to be non-aggressive on A.J. Brown in that particular situation. And RC, that was my thing when I was looking at this, and it seems like I'm picking on Dante Jackson, but I'm not. I'm talking about when Philly is at their best, they affect all 11 defensively because of that run game and QB run. What's the answer?
Well, the answer is if you're going to play man-to-man, you have to be able to match up physically, and that's why Joey Porter would travel with A.J., but also the way they use Devontae Smith in the slot on crossers, on stops, makes it extremely difficult to follow, and that's the problem that A.J. was pointing to.
Yeah.
If you get me involved earlier, it opens up everything else in the game, and so it's not necessarily just Saquon, it's A.J. Brown, who's a freak of nature as well at the position.
Moment yesterday, if you're a Chiefs